All right, y'all, we're back. Marriage
It's for grown
is
folks.
for grown folks. We are having these conversations. I think this is either conversation 6 or number 7. But our purpose, our mission, our intent is to spark a conversation, initiate a conversation between the two of us and with you all so that you can have this conversation with the person that you are working through it with, the person that you're in love with, the person that you're building with, to enhance your own relationship. So take whatever parts of these conversations that pique your interest, that might be an area of needed improvement in your own relationship, and talk it through. Why do we say that marriage is for grown folks? Why is it for grown folks?
Because there's a level of maturity you have to be successful in a marriage. And it's a lot of work. It's not child's play.
So one of the things that we have found out in our rough journey is understanding is essential.
Absolutely.
I need to understand me, and I need to understand you, and vice versa.
And I need to understand myself. And you got to understand yourself.
All right. So understanding is essential to building any kind of understanding, any kind of relationship. Understanding is key in building relationship. And so we have had a lot of dark years. We're still understanding us. We're still understanding each other. And so as we understand and as we talk and take time out to talk about what we're thinking, what we're feeling, it just helps the relationship get a little bit smoother. So take these conversations, take what we have said, add to it, ask your spouse, ask your partner, ask your baby daddy, whoever you're in relationship with. What do you think about this? Where do you see us? How do you feel about this? Child rearing, sex, money, finances.
All of it.
Did I leave anything out? I'm sure I did. So shame, your history, your past.
Yeah, history and past.
So here's I don't know which one should start with. Not yet. So funny story. You gotta tell them this was probably about 3 or 4 years into our marriage, and everything was hell on wheels. The money was
we were in a pressure cooker.
Woo.
And everything that could be tried was being tried.
It was being, cooked.
Or had already been tried.
So I had an emotional affair. I told her that I did, and all of it hit the fan. And so
we'll have to do another episode.
Yeah, we got to do an episode on cheaters and how to restore trust, because that's a real barrier in a lot of relationships, how to overcome that. So we did, but let's go to the horror story part of it. So our spiritual father is sitting at the table with us, who has been very influential in our marriage all throughout the years.
Absolutely.
It's over 16 years we've been together. He's been with us every step of the way.
Yeah.
And our brother, my childhood friend, who is also our marriage and family pastor at the church. He is our Olivia Pope. Should I say Oliver? I'm trying to think of a masculine. Olivia. Oliver Pope. He was at the table. So it was Brittany and I, our brother, and our spiritual father. And so he's sitting down with us, our father is, and he's asking me to explain to her what it was about, if I want to stay in the relationship or do I want to leave. And he was also asking her, how do you feel? Where are you at? Do you want to stay? Are you done? Are you going to try to work through it? And Brittany said something that we often bring up in marriage teaching, in private counsel. She said this, and my mouth hit the floor, but hit the table, my nachos, and just I was like, but she said something that I think is so important with the conversation that we're getting ready to have today about things that we needed to let go of to enhance the relationship. Tell them what you said.
Okay, so let me preface what I'm about to say.
But you don't preface it, huh?
It was laced with frustration and anger, number one. But also when I prayed about it to get a better understanding for myself, because I was clear that the decision had to be mine, not everyone else's. When I started telling God about all the issues that I had with him, God then began to challenge me on the things that he had instructed me to do that I had not done in the relationship, which was a hard pill to swallow, but it was still the truth. So when I looked at the truth that God presented me with, when I was then at the table and asked that question, My answer was, I want to make sure that I do everything that God has asked me to do so that if I have to leave his ass, I don't ever have to come back.
Ooh, and you said it just like that too, didn't you? So everybody at the table was quiet, and everybody looked at me like, John, what you gonna do? And I was like, I mean, what do you say when your wife says, I'm gonna do everything that I'm supposed to do? Because if I have to leave you, I'm gone and I'm not coming back.
Ever.
So that, even after that conversation, we moved through it. They called me after the meeting was over, like, Johnny, like that. She's you better watch your neck gonna be smiling in the middle of the night.
I was not going
No one knew. Like that was, but she was so clear on. We had seen relationships up until that point where one person got mad and said, I'm done, I can't do it no more, and left without the counsel of God, and left the relationship prematurely, and did not do all of the things that the Lord told them to do in that relationship. And so we've seen people leave a relationship and God tell them to go back to it because they didn't complete their assignment to that individual. And some of those relationships have gone on to be better and work out, and some of those relationships have gone on to fail twice.
This is true.
But that
and let me say this though, like our relationship dynamic, we were really like trying to grow up together, number one. And number two, it wasn't like you were harming me in any way. Like you made a mistake on your own. And so then I was presented with a choice. Am I going to forgive that indiscretion or not? You know, am I going to try to crucify you like I wasn't needing of grace and mercy?
Y'all get ready for this when we have a conversation on restoring trust after breach trust, cheating. It's going to be good. So this conversation, you saw an article that listed 4 things that this individual needed to let go of so that they could love the person that they're with. And we have just personally with us have had to and still do overcoming blocks, blockages that have been set up in our heart because of pain, because of our history. And so every time we talk to a couple, every time we talk about our history or move through something, there are blocks that will hinder the conversation flow. There are blocks that will hinder the trust, releasement. There are blocks that will hinder the flow of sexuality and fulfillment. There are blocks in our relationship. And so one of the goals of bringing the two together as one is breaking those blocks down, identifying what those blocks are, why they were set up, so that we can come together. And so we are still, after 16 years, still coming together. There is still a joining together of two mindsets, two histories, two upbringings. And so in your relationship, you should be constantly trying to identify what the block is and where the block came from, so that I can hear you and you can hear me, so that we can build together.
And you have to identify, okay, is this my personal block that I need to deal with? Or is this a relational block that we need to try to conquer together?
So let's do it. So you want me to go first?
It doesn't matter.
I'm going to go first. She doesn't know what my 4 are. We made a personal list of 4 things that we each needed to let go of so that we could love the other person. So she has a list of 4 she's going to read. I have a list of 4 that I'm going to read. So if her response is shocking, or I didn't know that, or this is on the spot, she has not read my list and I wouldn't tell her what my 4 was. We want to save it for y'all. Okay. So let me also say this before we start, and you see if you agree with this or not. I don't think that we started making marital progress. We need to do another conversation. I think it's on our YouTube, but it's from years ago, of the 5 stages of a relationship. We believe, we are the persuasion that it takes about 5 years for a relationship to gel. To get all
Jello. You know, every refrigerator is a little different. The temperatures vary. The climate is different. So it may take one person 6 years, it may take one person 3, but on average, we, normally about 5. You got to get to that grace year.
Ooh, and I don't know how we made it. So, and tell them about how when we talk to couples and we reassure them that the bull that's going on in the first 5 years isn't abnormal. Why is that important for a couple to know if they're in the first 5 years and it feels like I married the wrong person?
Okay, let me tell y'all something about American culture, right? So we have been indoctrinated with this falsehood of what marriage really is. This, 2.5 kids, white picket fence, your dog, all of those things. Nothing is wrong with any of that, but there is so much more to the covenant of marriage than just that. So if you're getting into a relationship based on, oh, we look cute together, let's match, let's do date night, let's take pictures, none of that's, wrong or bad, but that can't be the foundation of the relationship.
You chose violence.
I didn't mean to.
Now, and when we got married, I keep saying this because I'd be like, dang, we've been married 16 years and MySpace was out. So there really wasn't, other than MySpace and Black Planet, there really wasn't a whole lot to showcase. Like, you know, now pictures and photography and videography and even what we're doing now is something fairly new within the 16 years that we've been together. But social media and publicizing what you have and what you have going on really wasn't as big as it is now. And so the temptation to flaunt it and to show it and to get online and say, oh, this is what we do.
Or to fake it.
Or to fake it wasn't really prominent then. And so it wasn't even crossing my mind that I want to show the world my new. It was just, we just trying to survive in the dark. So these are my four. I said that to say that we did not start really making marital progress and becoming one. This is after 5 years until the two of us went introspective. It wasn't until she said at a particular time on her own, I'm going to work on me, such as she did when we were at the restaurant. She said, I'm going to leave his ass. And there was a point in time in my life where I said, you know what, she may not be my problem. I really may be my problem. So
that's a real place we got to get to.
The growth did not happen. We did not, even though we got married June 2nd, 2008, we really didn't begin the process of becoming one until 5+ years after that wedding. So what in the hell were we doing in the first 5 years?
I would say the first 5 years was, and I don't want to say wasted because it wasn't.
What were we doing?
We were learning what it meant to be like a man and a woman. We were learning what it meant to be a husband and a wife. We were learning what it meant to be a parent. Because, I mean, we had kids ourselves, but we also had custody of 2 other kids during that time. So we had a lot that we were juggling on our plate.
Buried a child.
Yeah, we lost the child that we had to,
We got to tell that story. Man, we got so much to. So it was a lot going on. It was a lot of trauma.
It was so much traffic that it was like we couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It was like, okay, we have to put this blame on somebody. All of these newfound.
It's like a police finding a body in the alley. Somebody did it. We got to find.
And because we were so close, it was like we immediately started pointing the finger. Like,
okay, you and my stuff.
You my problem. No, you my problem. You know what I mean? Instead of saying, wait, we're going through these experiences together. How can I best support you? And how can you best support me? Or even being able to identify what we truly needed. All of those things were like so foreign because we were so young and we just kind of took a leap of faith.
If we had not have had marriage counseling.
Listen, community is necessary. If you don't hear nothing else.
I would have murdered you, you would have murdered me. It would have been a double homicide. But we had people in our life to help us, keep directing us to us. She would call and say, John is doing this, and she wanted the conversation to be about me. I would call and say, hey, this is what she's doing, and they would direct me to what did I do. And so
what was your part? How could that have been?
That saved us. It pissed us off.
It did. But
because we wanted the other person to get fired up and we wanted to go, but it saved us. So this is my number one.
Okay.
The first thing that I had to let go of to love, get out of me, read my notes, is, let me see.
I'm cheating y'all because I don't know what you're about to say.
Is I had to let go of seeing you as my enemy. I felt like you were the nemesis in my life because you were, as you said it earlier, you were the closest person in my circle. I lived with you. I saw you. And so what it made me do is, because I did not want to deal with my own demons, there was now somebody who I could blame it on.
Yeah.
There was somebody who I could say, you are the one.
Right.
There was someone who I could project on. And so the first thing that I had to let go of is, and this was a process. This was not in the first year. This was not in the second year. This was not in the third year.
It was not.
This was not in the fourth year. But at some point in time, through her love, through her consistency, I came to a place in my life that I said, this has been following you, this behavior, this tendency, this anger, this rage has been following you before she came in the picture. So that is one blockage that I had to get rid of to love you. You ain't my problem.
Oh, you want me to say my first one?
Go ahead. You say your first one.
Okay. My first one is a little layered. So I would say being self-critical. The reason why I say that is because we have a tendency to project, right? So if I'm overly critical of myself, then I'm going to be overly critical of everyone else that I come into contact with. And I was coming into contact with him every day. So every little minute mistake that he made, I was highlighting it because that's what I was used to doing to myself. So it was a lack of grace. There was a lack of mercy because I hadn't extended it to myself. I was unable to give it to you.
Ooh, now that's one of mine. My second one is, let me read it, is letting go of or understanding the fact that I had a history before I met you.
Ooh.
And I didn't realize, you know what, this is something that we've heard. Bishop has said this to us over the years, and it has blessed us and every other couple that we've talked to. You don't know how much damage has been done in your last relationship until you get into the next one.
Until you walk into that new one.
And it should not be so, but because we are a culture and a society that is in so much pain, and rarely do we take the intentional time
that part
to
heal
and understand what happened and what our piece was to what happened before we move on to another addiction, to another person who can soothe us. And so I had to understand and let go of what happened to me before I met you, because it aided into me thinking that you were my problem, when really the problems that I had within myself predated you.
Yeah. You want my number two?
We want your number two.
Whew. Number two for me would be control. Now,
crack it open.
I'm about to. He said something the other week that it had me just digesting it for a while. He said control is a lack of faith. So that can apply to so many arenas, but we're going to use it in a relationship sense right now. So because I did not come to the relationship having strong faith in men's ability to show up for me, to protect me, to love me, to care for me, I felt like I needed to try to control this dynamic. And I never outright came out and was like, I'm going to control this. But my behavior, my actions, my responses all spoke to the fact that I was looking for a way to, how can I control it? How can I steer this ship? Because to release that control meant that I was going to have to trust this individual in a way that I had never had to trust anybody in my life before.
And in the beginning, there really wasn't a track record that you had to base trust on.
Right.
And because we were in a whirlwind in that first 5 years, nothing to us was stable. And so we really, other than God, there really, in our community, there was really nothing consistent about that time in our life because everything was moving so fast.
This is true.
So control, it can destroy a relationship because it breeds distrust.
Yeah.
And we need to talk about sabotage. We got a lot to talk about. So control. How long did it take you to understand that you had some deep control in what year? If you, 5, 4, year 3, year 8, year.
Okay, so y'all, I don't remember the exact year, but I do remember getting in this place where I was like, why do I do what I do?
That's a good question.
And that sent me on this journey that honestly I'm still on, because now when something comes up or if I respond a certain way, I'm immediately asking myself, girl, why you do that?
Why you do that?
Why you feel like that about that? So it makes me look inward first instead of taking the position of blaming the person that's closest to me for what's happening.
And if you are going to have a successful chance at being married in a healthy state, you need to be asking yourself often, why do you do that? Why do I say that? Why do I respond that way? Why does that make me feel so what? Why? You should be constantly investigating until you can accurately articulate why you are doing what you're doing, why you want what you want, why you say what you say, why you're asking for from that other person what you're at. You have to be able to articulate, because if you can't articulate it to that other person, it's going to say, well, it can't be as serious as you think it is, because you can't even verbalize it. So you got to verbalize it. So this is a lot of ours are blending together. It's similar. We've been sleeping in the same bed for a couple of years or so.
We might know each other.
We might know a little bit about each other. Did you say forgiving yourself? Is that one you said?
I have not, but you do have to.
That was my number 3.
Okay.
In order to give grace, this is 4 things that I needed to let go of or to embrace so that I could love her. I had to forgive and give grace to me. I don't believe that we can give a grace, give an understanding, if we have not received that same level of grace and understanding. So there were a lot of things that happened in our relationship that I was just hotter than a 45 at you about, but I had to give myself grace. And so when I came into the relationship, I had low grace for me. So that meant that if you did something, you're done. So if you sneeze wrong, see all of that sneezing, all that coughing, she didn't have to do much. My cutoff game, and I'm still healing from it. My cutoff game is strong.
Did you say sneeze?
Yeah, all that sneezing. See, I didn't told you about all that coughing. See, are you sneezing? You coughing? See, so I had to give John grace, and I was able to give John grace when I found out that his identity was in whose he was and not in his behavior, and that really unhooked me from this mindset of I've got to always be perfect. I've got to always be working. I got to always hit all my P's and Q's because I miss sometime. So I was really treating you as how I felt about myself, which was you can't do nothing right. Did y'all hear what I just said? I treated her as if she couldn't do anything right because on the inside of myself, I really felt like I couldn't do nothing right. And you was just a target.
Yeah. So is it safe to say that once you accepted who and what you were, you had room to accept who and what I was?
You better decode. Say it one more time. Say it for the clip.
So is it safe to say that when you were able to accept who and what you were, you then had room to accept who and what I was?
And once that happened, it caused me to let go of this control that I had over you. This person, the person that you're married to, you don't own them.
Well,
they're not your property.
Correct.
They got a brain and a heart and a booty and a stomach and knees. They got their own body and they can do whatever they want to do. They're human. They grown. You heard a couple arguments. I'm grown.
Yeah.
They grown.
Hopefully.
You should want them. They should want to be there because they want to be there, not because they're scared of you, what you gonna do and say. And so you're grown.
Listen.
So if you want to stay out all night, what's the woman said? Love should have brought you home last night. Ain't that what Tony said? Okay, what's your 4?
My number 3.
Oh, number 3. I'm sorry.
Is I had to let go of pride. We're just gonna let that breathe for a second.
Explain. Come on, somebody don't know.
Okay. So we like to define pride as self-consciousness in any area. And so for me, it was I needed to present a certain way to the world. I've already took this huge leap of faith that so many people told us we was crazy for doing it. So I got to hold this together some kind of way. I need to keep a smile on my face. I need to make sure that everything looks perfect at all times, which is so funny because I'm sitting here listening to you articulate, yours, and it's just marrying so closely with the ones that I have. But literally, that's what it was. I was very, very prideful, very, very prideful. And honestly, that pride stemmed out of the control. And so that's why pride is number 3 after control.
Come on, Janet
because
Jackson.
literally, I wanted to control everything because I felt like that was the only way to make it present as perfect. So if I didn't have control, then I was like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Then what? So it really robbed me, though, of so many opportunities to just be present in the moment and enjoy and take you in, though.
Woo. And once you took me in, come on, tell that. Don't leave out the. Come on, tell a good part. And once I took you in, that's good though. Oh, just once I took it, testify about when you took me in. So this is my. Do your 4th one.
You do your 4th.
No, do your 4th one.
Okay, number 4. Are y'all ready? Drum roll, please. I needed to let go of my attachments that came prior to this relationship. So other people, other things, every other this is a big one for girls, other dreams and visions that I had of what my life was supposed to look like in the current. I had to be willing to abandon those things to accept and appreciate where I currently was.
Did you cry when your dreams and visions started to?
Well, here's the thing though. Like when I got married, I should have already known, bro, you not on course for what you dreamed of, because my dream didn't have a spouse. My dream didn't have kids.
Wait a minute.
So
she wanted to be single. Her dream was, I'm gonna be single and be a boss by myself.
Exactly. Travel the world, make a lot of money. That was like the extent of it. But even that dream and that vision, it came out of trauma and pain.
Then you took me in.
So I should have been able to see, which my vision was clouded by, pride, control, all the things I've already listed, pain, trauma, all the things. But it literally, like I got to the place where it was like, well, wait, what do I want? Like I remember my therapist saying to me one time, can you help me understand why you're so tense when you drive? And I'm like, well, every time I've been in a car wreck, somebody has hit me from behind. And she said, but have you ever stopped to just be like, it's really a beautiful day. Like, look at the trees coming into full bloom. Look at the sun shining. And in that moment, although we were talking about one specific thing, it literally opened my eyes to all of the things that I could have been missing because I was so nervous or apprehensive or stressed about what could possibly come that's not positive, that I was missing all of the positives that were around me. So that was a thought that she gave me that I really applied to my whole life, because I was just like,
I'm missing out
on all the things that I loved about you that made me marry you in the first place, because I'm so busy thinking like, okay, well, what if he breaks my heart? What if he makes a mistake and we can't bounce back from it? What if he decides he doesn't want to be here? All of these negative what ifs, not like, well, what if he loves you for the rest of your life? Like, what if he has grace and mercy to sustain you?
Mm-hmm.
Like I never gave the positive spin because I was so fixated on the negative spin.
And that's what pain in a prolonged time frame, in a prolonged setting will do, is it will make us hypersensitive to the negative.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
That's my number 4. What's yours?
My number 4 was, I rate it again. My number 4 was, I had to let go of false peace.
Ooh, that is
So
a really good one.
because of her attachment style and because of my attachment style, they're completely opposite. And so we need to talk about attachment styles. Golly. I felt like what because I respond the way I responded, because I know that she responds the way she responds. If there was something that I foresaw or thought was going to be a issue or a blow up, that I just would not say it or beat around the bush or avoid it to prevent, in my mind, a blow up. So false peace was something.
But I be discerning and I be like, what's going on?
Through all that pain.
What's wrong?
Still.
And he'd be like, I'm good. Blank face. And I'd be like, now I know. Something fell off.
Now listen, and because this was what's going through my brain. Okay, if I tell you, like, I had a real problem with the truth, because if I saw so many examples of when people told the truth, how they hit the fan. And I'd be like, I thought the truth is supposed to make people free. I thought the truth is supposed to make people happy. I thought the truth is supposed to bring people together. The truth is breaking hearts out here.
Okay, let me just choose violence for a moment. The truth is not hurting or breaking anybody's heart out here. People's refusal to receive the truth is what's causing the problem.
And deceiving.
And all of those things.
Pulling the wool over eyes.
Yeah, but people really do think that the truth is gonna hurt somebody.
Oh, I believed it.
And it's not. It's a person's refusal to receive what is true.
You better
at face value. That's what it is. You had a truth to receive and I had a truth to receive. And I couldn't make my truth be your fault and you couldn't make your truth be my fault.
So you know, when the wife says, does this dress make me look fat? I used to say, that'll make you look fat. If she asks me now, yes.
Tell me if I put something on and it make me look like Pillsbury Doughboy.
And the second thing you put on, I'll say, it make you look fat. I don't have no problem with it. I don't have no.
So what that means is, if I don't want the truth, I shouldn't ask him for the truth. Because if I ask him for the truth and he gives me the truth and then I get upset, I'm immature. I need to grow up.
Is your mic on? Ooh, that's good.
I mean, seriously, this is why we say marriage is for grown folks, because we live in this fairy tale. Like, we're siloed off in our head as if we're not in a covenant with a whole nother human being who has feelings, thoughts, beliefs. And we just expect them to pick up the script and jump in. And it's like, no, this is a whole human.
Okay, this is the last statement with Ted Funny story. You got to tell our listening audience. You don't.
I don't know.
But you just tell them about, we're talking about the truth and 4 things we needed to let go of to love the other person. Let me hold you one second. Remember when Bishop, tell us about your weight before you.
Oh my God.
About your truth. Now, I'm going to start it off. Bishop had,
I'm going to tell you. I'll tell the story.
Because I'll tell you.
Okay, so let me tell you something that I love about my spiritual father. He is a lover of the truth. When I say he is absolutely in love with the truth, he is in love with the truth. And that is what he has poured into us, being in love with the truth, even though it may be uncomfortable at times, even though you may not be ready for it at times. You have to fall in love with the truth. If you are going to do and be what you are supposed to be in this earth, you have to fall in love with the truth. So what that means, though, is that we had to learn how to receive truth. So he has intentionally poured and spent quality time with us to make sure that we are prepared to be in the roles and positions that we are in, okay? And so he goes, hey, I want to take y'all out to dinner. So he takes me and John and another couple out to dinner. He was like, I just want to talk to y'all. I just want to share my heart and spend some time with y'all. So we're like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, okay. Impromptu date day. I don't have to plan anything. Let's just go. So I get dressed. We go to the restaurant. We're seated. We order our meals. We're drinking our water. I don't know what you got. Maybe an Arnold Palmer or something. Okay, right. And he goes, I want to talk to y'all. Now, he ain't talking to the men at the table. He's literally talking to me and the other woman. I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on, Dad? What's up? Right. I'm like, what's going on? He said, I'm noticing that you starting to put on a lot of weight. What is that about? Literally, y'all, listen. I'm sitting at this table. with my plate in front of me, about to take a bite, and I just paused. Like, I literally just set my fork down. Like, okay, no, this is not an impromptu date night.
Yeah, y'all was
You
on
got to come for us.
y'all was on y'all way to $3 bills. Y'all was on.
Y'all
was on y'all way to that.
Now, because we've been talking about truth, right? Was I overweight? Absolutely.
Yes.
Did I need to do something about it? Absolutely. Let me even say this. Did I know that it was a problem before he brought it up? Absolutely. But he brings it up at the table,
Go ahead,
right?
lean forward. Go ahead, lean forward.
Right.
Tell us.
He brings it up at the table and he goes, I'm noticing y'all putting on a lot of weight. I'm noticing y'all's husbands are looking at smaller fit people. So what we gonna do about it? I said,
I'm on solution-based, Father.
So he will present you with truth, but he's not going to demand that you change anything. So he presented me with truth and then gave me the question, okay, what you going to do about it? So then I was left with the truth. Like, I couldn't say, oh, you're being mean. Oh, you're being dogmatic.
That's shaming.
He wasn't. He was being honest and truthful with me about something that I already knew was true. And now I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do about it? And I was like, it took me a second to breathe because I was just like, are we really doing this at dinner? I think the first thing out of my mouth was, you did not have to take me out to eat to say this. We could have this conversation at your house. And he started laughing because that's just my personality. So after that conversation, after that dinner, I was still left with, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue to put on weight, which is going to affect your health? It's going to affect your ability to be a mother. It's going to affect your ability to be a wife. It's going to affect your ability to do all the things that you're supposed to be doing. Or are you going to receive what is true and make the necessary changes so you can have a healthy, full life and do the things that you really desire to do in your heart?
So, the truth.
The truth, y'all.
If you're not ready for it, don't ask for it. But you need it, though.
Yeah.
So 5 years it took us to be in a position to receive the truth so that we could do something about it. So it may not everybody, it may take some folks a little longer than
that
us.
Was the start of us receiving truth. Was about year 5.
So where we're here now. Exactly. Marriage is for grown folks.
Hey y'all, real quick. If y'all want us to do like a series on love where we talk about all different things like cheating and how to treat somebody when you first meet them, how to know if you got a vibe with somebody, let us know in the captions below. Bye.